It's the J Bass Today Show. Get ready for a good time, a good time. It's the J Bass Today Show. Get ready to ride.
Season's greetings. God bless you to each of you, and welcome to the J Bass Today Show. I am praying through to get to you. This has been a trying, uh, start to the show. You are not aware of all that I have been trying to do to get this show started. There are some things that are going on that are preventing me from logging into Facebook right now, which I was going to go live there because it's just easier in the download. It takes a few moments versus several if I record straight from Zoom. And so it's just, uh, it kind of knocked my fire out because I was so excited to get back to share with you after watching Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot, part of deep East Texas. It's just interesting being born and raised in East Texas in Lufkin, that I've heard of Possum Trot multiple times, but I have never heard of this story. And it's just, it speaks volumes. It really speaks volumes because people talk about so many different things. They talk about so many other things that others are doing. However, this kind of news uh, missed me. It maybe others in the city knew about it and just it missed me, but this is definitely a story that I believe is worth sharing, worth hearing. And there are several things that I got out of the movie, but one thing in particular that I want to uh, make today's broadcast about, and prayerfully be able to encourage all of us in this. And it is the endurance, it is the waiting, it is being patient, it is long suffering, because it certainly is a part of life. And when you talk about love, Lord Jesus, have mercy on my soul. People can get on your nerves. It can really, especially with the atmosphere of today, this council culture, a matching energy type of culture. I'm walking away if you don't do or whatever. This culture and this new day culture, it's just so totally opposite of the message of this movie. And the message translates not only into dealing with one another, but even in dealing with issues that arise. I wanted to just close up my computer and go to bed and be done. But I know that I have a broadcast to record. And so I had to get over the fact that I could not log in, calm down, and log into Zoom and just record here. Some things, and it may seem simple to you, but I have been dealing with this password issue. I don't know how to solve it. With Facebook, you cannot just contact customer support and get help to remedy your issue. And so I've been dealing with this, and it's like when you look at the computer, it's taking me in circles, in circles, in circles. And it seemed like sometimes that's the roller coaster of life, that we find ourselves going through circle after circle after circle. And it's in those moments. And this is the message. And so I may not even be long, that we have to be able to trust God in those times. It made me think of situations like the children of Israel at the Red Sea, where Moses has no clue of the way forward. All he knows is that God told him to go get his children out of Egypt. He knows that God had brought him this far, and that they've gotten out, they've got all this wealth, they're carrying all this stuff. It's so many people. And I'm imagining, we tell this story, but it's placing yourself in that space as much as possible. I'm thinking about being on the banks of a sea, water in front of me, behind me, or and even on side of me are nothing but people. People, people, people. And they're complaining, babies are crying, people are coughing, people are talking and bickering, people are complaining. And here I am in this position because God told me to go and get his people out. And there are situations just like in this movie where God puts it on your heart to do something. And one of the things that kind of got me in the movie is it was the wife who has this illuminating moment with God that she's supposed to go get these children. And her husband is not with it at first, but apparently at some point God touches his heart, and now he's on the mission. And then down in the journey, after the word has come, storms is not going to be easy. Storms are going to rise. The storm rises, and now the wife is fed up. And the husband, who was not with this at first, has to be in her encouragement. And it's just interesting how the tables can turn so quickly, because it wasn't him. It was not him who initiated this. And so now for her to be fed up and be ready to walk away, and he have to encourage her, it just speaks volumes of how life goes. But one of the things about the movie that really got me is how the community rallied around one another to support each other through those tough times. And I don't know who supported Moses. I don't know if there was anyone who spoke a word, because again, I'm imagining all of this that's going on. I'm sure, I'm just imagining Moses had to carry some stuff too. You're not going to bring us out and we got all this stuff and you not carrying something. I think about I've been thinking about a certain woman that I met playing at a church. And at that time, she was the choir director at the church, and we had to work together. We became friends, and certain things about our lives matched up, and so it drew us even closer together, to the point that I even started going to her house. We started fellowshipping. We would eat, and at the time, I didn't have a car, and she would pick me up at times. And we got so close that even I remember a time I had to have surgery, and the type of surgery I ended up missing myself. And y'all know I'm transparent on here. And I needed help. I was stitched up and all of this, and she helped me clean myself. I thought I passed gas, and it was mess. And it wasn't until I pulled the covers back to get up, uh, because then I really started feeling more that needed to come out, that I realized I'd already had some to come out. and she helped me shower. So she saw me in my nakedness, and that drew us even closer together. And so, anyhow, there was a time after, um, as a creative, I have a game that I created that still has not come forth. And there's some things I know I need to do with the game, but prayerfully, because I have put certain things in place, it is it is in a place where things are are on the up and up enough. Uh, yeah. And so anyway, I hosted a game near her home, and it was to just show people what the game was about. And so my intention was after the game to go to her house and fellowship because it was a holiday. And the thing was, because I went there, several of the people that were with me wanted to come. And so I asked if everyone could come, and the answer was yes. And so people came, and we just had a good time that day. But at the end of the day, I came in the house and everyone was sitting around, and I was told I needed to get in the kitchen and wash the dishes while everyone is sitting there. And apparently they've been doing things and cleaning and doing other things. And because I'd invited people over, which I just wanted to go over and fellowship. But I did ask, since they were there, if they could come. Uh, and I guess that was reason enough that I had to wash the dishes. And it just kind of, made me think about the situation of sometimes you're doing what's in your heart, what you believe God has put in your heart to do, and situations arise. And it did frustrate me because I'm thinking everyone's sitting around, and it's making me feel like I'm in trouble or something, or I'm being punished for pursuing my dreams and goals, or being punished because as a result of me pursuing my dreams and goals and it being near a friend's home, and then other friends being present wanting to come by, again, that I was being punished. But all in all, it was just part of the process. And once I expressed what I had to say and washed the dishes, because I know how to wash dishes, so I washed the dishes. It was no thing. And I was grateful that we were able to be there. We were in the pool. We had a great time that day. And thinking about her, and just thinking about the things that you have to deal with when you have other people around that you have care for and that you have to be responsible for. Moses is responsible for all these people, and he's at this Red Sea. And what do you do? What do you do? All you can do, you do what only you can do, which is trust God. In this season, the serenity prayer has become such an intricate part of my daily life. I keep asking God for the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. And even now, I'm able to smile because as I say that, I realize I have not prayed the serenity prayer about this Facebook issue. I've had the courage to do the things pertaining to this that I can. And at this point, I don't know what else to do. So it's out of my hands. I cannot access Facebook on this laptop. Thankfully, I'm not completely locked out because I can log in via my cell phone. And I tried to go in through there to do some things, and it still didn't work. And so I have to have the serenity to accept that. And so that's my encouragement for us tonight. There are going to be some things that are going to happen in this life. And if you're like me, you can get frustrated so easily. Things that are said, things that are done that you have no understanding of. And it's like, how much more? How much more? But I've been at that place of how much more where the solution was give up. The solution was suicide. The solution was to walk away. The solution was just to be done. But that's not the solution now. The solution is to trust God through it. The solution is to wait on God. And we do know that waiting sometimes is not easy. Ooh, especially, and I was having this conversation with my aunt, when you've been waiting for so long. It's one thing if I'm waiting on a spouse and I've been waiting a year or two, or I've been waiting 5 years. But try encouraging someone who's been waiting 30 years, someone who's been waiting 40 years. There are people who are waiting on all kinds of things. I think about the wait on my music and how often Pastor Adams, before he passed, would often he would often he would often share how long he'd had to wait to get some of his music out. And this moment of pause came because it can be frustrating. And even in this moment, I have to cast down frustration because he died with music that was not recorded. He died with music that had never been scored. He died with dreams that were never a reality. And due to situations, I'm unable to get to the music to get it out. And before he passed, he found that his grandchildren had thrown music out into the mud. What do you do when you see your works trampled on, thrown out into the dirt, and it seems like it has been made of nothing, and you've been hoping, you've been praying, you've been trusting God, and here I am telling you to trust God again. Here I am telling you to have faith, and I have no clue the Red Sea that's before you, the people that are bickering and judging around you. I have no clue, but you have no clue the judgment that I have to endure. Even as I said that, my mind went to having to walk away from going to convention this year. Having to request a refund and receiving it today. And thinking I'm seeing faces of people who, under the guise of concern, want to know what happened and are talking about me behind my back and not good. We talk about people talking about us. Keep my name out of your mouth. I don't mind my name being in the mouth of others because that's how God uses our he uses people to spread our name in good ways. And even sometimes when they spread it in negative ways, they have no clue that they're still promoting us to someone that now they know our name, they know who we are, and then they see us doing something for the kingdom of God, and then they can support and be a blessing, all because I've heard of you. Oh, you have. Anytime someone says that, I instantly say, "Oh, you have." Because it's no telling what you've heard about Jabez. There's no telling what you've seen. I know I've sown many good seeds, and I'm saying to you, you've sown good seeds. It has not all been bad. The seeds Moses sowed to get those children to that Red Sea, those were good seeds. But he'd also done some things in his past as well. So again, the people were around him bickering and judging. And then he's also getting the word. I waited, but now I'm to the place where he's also gotten the word that Pharaoh has changed his mind and he's in hot pursuit of them. What do you do? How do you move forward with that? And there's no way what you see is there is no way forward except God do it. And of course, we know the outcome of the story, that they get across on dry ground. We know that, but standing in the moments before that, Moses had no clue how God was going to work it out. And no, he didn't have to stand there for decades. And he didn't have to sit in a moment like I'm sitting in now, where I know that I still have music left that needs to be recorded, and how I had hope and was still believing that the man of God would see the rest of his music recorded because I would be right there to help him get it done. And then to get the call that he's dead and he's already been cremated, so you can't see him. Can't see him, can't access his music to get it out. Life, life, life. You wait all those decades, and it seems like you die without the victory. I say that because it also brings it's also another glimpse of Moses, because he does all of this. And to be honest, I don't know if Pastor Adams smote the rock when God told him just to speak to it toward the end of his life. I have no clue what happened that God did not allow that man to see his music be released and become a reality. All I know is that he didn't. But it's almost like I'm Joshua to go into the promised land. But it's different because maybe I will get to see all 10 volumes of my music recorded. But what about his music? You get what I'm saying? Those kind of things. But that's life. And that's something, even as I share this, that God is putting on my heart for the first time since he passed. Oh, mm. That I have to have the serenity to accept what I cannot change. There's nothing I can do about it. There is nothing that I can do now but try my best to honor his legacy, to keep his name alive, to share the music that we did get to record. It's all I can do. It's all I can do. This is the first time. This is literally the first moment, and I'm so grateful to God for this moment because I hadn't even thought about it like that. That I've got to be able to accept it. It's hard to accept when he held on over 70 years. I'm just in my 40s, and I met him in my early 20s. So I only knew him about 20 years. But in that time, he fathered me in a way that my own father couldn't, and spiritually walked me through some hard times of my life, befriended me and was my friend through some hard times of my life, allowed me to live in his home, travel up and down the road together, recorded project together. We did so much together. And so I believed wholeheartedly. I have the faith, and then once I got the recording equipment, traveling back and forth to Oklahoma, we're going to get this done. And life, God's will was and is what it is. And I have to have the serenity to accept what I cannot change. And today is the first day that I have had to come face to face with the fact that there's nothing I can do about that. It is so disheartening. It is so disappointing. But again, at this point, I can talk about it maybe for other purposes, but I don't have to think about it in the way of feeling bad that it didn't get done. And I tried to press him on moments, but I mean, you could only do so much. I tried to encourage, and there were and the thing was, he kept getting discouraged. And I understand, for various reasons. He was even disappointed in the project we were able to do with one another. I could tell he was, but he was also grateful that it was done. I'm disappointed in how how my projects have turned out, but I'm grateful that they're done. That you can go to the digital outlets and pull them up, and with your grace and mercy to www.jbassministries.com and download it. It's available because the work has been put in. And so, again, there are things that are going to arise in this life. I think about the times that I've been ready to go to the studio and something comes up. I was ready to go to the studio yesterday and lights went out at home. The transformer blew and woke me up out of a nap. It blew so hard. And it caused a shift. The storm clouds outside. I'm texting Keith at the studio, and I mean, within a minute, he's sending me a link. I sent him a lengthy message about coming and the storm and my lights out at home, and he's sending me a lengthy message with a picture of the storm from his office window at work. Within a minute, I can screenshot it, the times, and I couldn't do anything but laugh. But at the same time, I'm set to go to the studio. I'd been excited about going to the studio all week. I'd been excited about going to Toastmasters for the first time all week, and not just all week, all weekend since last week. Ready to drop Your Grace and Mercy so I can get back into the studio and pick back up where we left off. But I have to accept that that wasn't the time. I couldn't change it. And so there are some things that we cannot, there's nothing we can do about. I think about, and I'm saying that because even in the movie, I think about this young girl uh, in the foster system's eyes. She was a lost cause, and they did not want the family to adopt her because they didn't want them to get fed up with her and send her back, because then what would that say to the other families who'd adopted and were probably having problems and were having problems with the children they'd adopted? But those problems are going to come because I loved it in the movie. Oh my gosh. I was thinking it and they said it, and it just was like, God, I love when you do that in my life. When you put a thought in my head, and then while I'm watching a movie or a show, and the person on the screen, or even in a sermon, or if I'm talking to someone and they say what I was thinking based on what had been previously said. And the pastor, he was saying that we've been problems. When the young girl stole the car, and y'all haven't seen it, but I'm giving you some of the nuggets so that you'll want to watch. I don't mind sharing parts of movies. Y'all be trying to hide stuff. I don't mind sharing some of the details so that you can get worked up to want to see it, because there's so much more to it than these few little details that I share. But when the girl stole the car, it made me think about the many times I took my mom's car without her knowing. And even the one time that I took it and I went to church, and then went over to a friend's house, and we all fellowshipped and end up leaving late and get back to Lufkin, and right in front of my friend's house who went to sing with me, uh, right in front of the apartment complex. He was asleep. I'm driving, and I was so sleepy, but we were close. We were right there. I fell asleep behind the wheel in my mama's car that I'd taken without asking. Fell asleep behind the wheel, had a head-on collision with a truck. I had maybe like it's not a fracture. I can't remember what they called it at that time. I had to have a little metal thing on my finger. I, at this point, it has healed. I don't even remember which finger it was, but I remember trying, it had to be in this one, I think. Remember trying to play with the finger, and I played. I was still serving on the organ with that finger in that splint, but I was a problem child in my teenage years. I was a problem child in my young years. And so just imagining adopting and a child being a problem, it brings me to children I know now that have some issues and present problems. And we just have to accept it. We have to love them through it. First and foremost, with in view the fact that I've been a problem. And so how dare I not bear with as someone bore with? I thought this was going to be just a few moments, but I've gotten a little caught up. And I pray that in that catching up, that something has been said to encourage you to see it through. I am so grateful that my mom and my family saw it through with me. It gives me, it gives me the fortitude, the mental fortitude to see it through with my dreams and my goals, see it through with the ministries that God has put within me, to see it through with the music, to see it through with these churches, to see it through with school. It gets hard. We can, I was thinking that life, it has so, I've said this before, so many compartments, so many complexities. It's life in itself is just complex. It just is. There are so many different pieces and parts, and it's always moving. You know, even as I'm here, there's so much going on outside. And I have no clue because in this little room, the little part that I can see, in I'm in a hotel. And in this hotel, it's no telling what is going on in these different rooms. And every time I think about that, it makes me just in awe of God because he knows every detail of it. And even as I think about the little girl, my mind goes, y'all, the little girl, we can't go back. And that's where I was going when I got off. We can't go back and fix the things that the children have gone through, and even that we have gone through in our past. All we can do is move forward from now and and move forward in now. I think about the breakthrough that the young lady finally got, and it took time. It took patience. It took God dealing with her in his own time, in his own way, in a way that she would get. She had to take the car. She had to go and do these other things that she did and to experience. And she needed somebody that would come and lay right beside her in it to receive the breakthrough that she needed. And even the laying there in it with her was not the breakthrough. There was still more that had to happen. And so we never know where the breakthrough is, but if we'll just be patient, if we just won't give up, if we'll just trust God that he sees, he knows, he cares, and that because he's the one who began the work in us, he's the one who began to work in that little girl. He knew where she would end up when her mama met her daddy. He knew her then, and they hadn't even thought. They didn't even know that they were going to be a couple or that they would ever sleep together and procreate to have a child. They didn't have a clue. God knew, and he knew where she would be today with her own two children, moving forward in her dreams and goals because somebody loved her through it. What is it that we've got to endure? What is it that we've got to see through? That's going to be hard. That's going to test and try us to the very utmost, because thinking about dealing with people alone, thinking about dealing with people alone can become too much to deal with or seem like it, because somebody dealt with us when we were too much to deal with. When we felt like we were too much to deal with ourselves. That's one part of the movie that got to me. is seeing this child feel like she was too much because you're hearing it. I've been sharing that in this season. I'm gonna continue to share it because when you're a child, all you have is what you're hearing other people around you say. You're hearing it over and over and over. And you might get a good encouraging word, but then you still, oh, y'all, this movie, you got to go watch Sound of Hope because the way that they did this, it's a sermon in itself. I can take this and create several sermons and have use illustrations from this movie because I look in the mirror and I say these I am encouraged. I am intelligent. I am handsome. I am strong. But then I remember what somebody said about me. And then I say that I am stupid. You get what I'm saying? I am dumb. But then I have said I'm stupid and dumb before. Literally, J Bass has said, no, Jacory has said that about himself before because I've been made to feel that way. And maybe I have done some dumb things. No, not maybe. I have done some dumb things. I've done some stupid things because I did know better. But I was hurting. I was angry. And just like this little girl, I didn't have the tools in that moment to get through that. But thank God for his grace. Thank God for getting us through those low moments. And we made it. And so if we made it through that, whatever else we go through, surely we can get through. And so those are my words of encouragement to you in this episode of the J Bass Today Show. And I pray that through all of this, that something has been said to encourage you to see this journey through. I know it's not easy. I pray that in sharing just a few bits and pieces of my testimony in this, that you understand, I know this journey is not easy. And when I had that wreck and my mom had to come rescue me in a car that I had taken that she had no clue that I'd taken. Well, I'm sure she knew after it was gone and she probably went looking for it. That she came and rescued me. I don't think I don't know that I got in trouble in any kind of way. I probably did, but it wasn't like I remember just being all out punished for doing that. I think by then I was definitely over 18, I'm thinking. And so, well, no, because I was still at my home church, I want to say. I don't know. Let me not get caught up in that during this broadcast. All I know is that I got rescued. Somebody bore with me through that. And although I felt like I was dumb and stupid and should have been punished or and even and taken out of here. I mean literally taken out of life being done. And if no one else would do it, then I should commit suicide. I remember those thoughts vividly. And yet, over 2 decades later, here I am, still here with my own transportation in my name. Look how far the Lord has brought us. And if he can bring us this far, if he can bring us this far, surely he can take us all the way. He who began the work shall complete the work. God bless you all. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode of the J Bass Today Show.
It's the J Bass Today Show. And if you change your attitude, you can change your life. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I found out.